I'd
Sorry,
like to
Vicki.
introduce Erika Iger. She is 49 years old and lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with her at-risk 20-year-old son, Joey, and her 16-year-old daughter, Olivia, who has juvenile onset Huntington's disease. Her husband passed away at the age of 47, and they were married for 19 years. Erika, can you please tell us about your journey with HD and JoHD?
Yes, hi. So I met my husband Jaya back in 2000. We got married in 2000. We had no idea Huntington's ran in his family. His parents divorced when he was young. His mom has told me after we got the diagnosis that they divorced because his dad started becoming violent, was severely depressed. So now obviously those are symptoms that we now know is part of Huntington's. And he really didn't have a whole lot of contact with his dad and his dad's family. So no one really had any idea it was in the family. Back in 2001, after a year we were married, we had Joey. And then in 2006, we had Olivia. It was about a year after Olivia was born. My family came down I'm from Rochester, New York, and they came down to visit, and they started pulling me aside, telling me, have you noticed anything with Jaya? He seems different. He's moving, he's twitching. And I hadn't paid attention. Being in the same household with him for so long, you don't really pay attention to those things. So I started keeping an eye out for it and noticed, okay, something is definitely going on. We went to his doctor. We went and saw a neurologist. They did an MRI. Nothing showed up. Went back to the doctor. They said, oh, it's ADHD, put him on meds. Nothing was changing. And then he started complaining, he was having trouble at work. He worked for, at the time it was Time Warner, and he was in customer service. So he had to do a lot of talking on the phone. And he said he was having a hard time remembering certain things. So then it was a few years we didn't go see any kind of doctors, wasn't sure what we were doing, where we were going. And we started seeing this other doctor, and he was a movement specialist. And he had a brand new doctor there, and the doctor watched him move and was really observing him. And she was the one who pointed it out. She says, I think it's Huntington's disease. Do you have it in your family? And we're like, Huntington's disease? What's that? We never heard of it. And I just finished my internship at Wake Forest Baptist Hospital, working with a doctor who specialized in it. So we said, oh, it can't possibly be Huntington's disease. So we'll take the test. And lo and behold, he was positive in 2011. And it was definitely tough. He stopped driving, stopped working about a year or so later. And I was trying to take care of him and do the best I can while working a full-time job. His parents started helping, and then he became violent with me on a few occasions, and he ended up living with his mom and his stepdad. And then with Olivia, after Jai was diagnosed and I was reading up about Huntington's, I came across articles about juvenile Huntington's, and that freaked me out. And I thought, possibly this could never happen. And I noticed Olivia was in 6th grade. It was towards the end of the year. She was always left-handed. And this one time I started watching her, and I'm like, why are you writing with your right hand? And she's, my left hand hurts. So I had her extend her hand out, and she's actually now hears everyone's voice. And Olivia, you got to stop talking right now. So we couldn't extend her hand, and I realized her knuckles weren't able to extend out. And so we realized that there was something going on, and went to she had a physical with her doctor. We talked about it there. She sent us to a neurologist. Of course, she always knows when you guys are online. And okay, you got to wait, Olivia. And so the neurologist we went and saw a neurologist. We went and did the MRI, and of course the MRI showed nothing. And they told us it's a good possibility this is what she has. So we finally decided to get tested, and we got her CAG results of 77, and it was 10 days before her 13th birthday. So throughout those times, she was starting to have a little bit more difficulty at school. She got an IEP. I'm a special ed teacher, so I was able to advocate for her, knew that she needed modifications. She's been exempted from testing for all state testing. I'm in constant communication with her teachers. They're like, whatever Olivia can do, have her do whatever she can't, no worries. Somehow she still makes a honor roll. I don't know how, seeing she sleeps half the time in class, but I'm like, maybe it's her cute smile that they keep giving her A's. But she goes to school every day. She's on a modified school day. So she comes home a couple hours earlier. She's attending a charter school, and because our local school district, I know, couldn't provide the support that she needed. So I sent her to a charter school. They don't provide transportation. And I actually had to fight with them, and I called the State Department of Education and knew my rights for her. And they said they would have to provide transportation. And I mean, it's difficult when school systems and other people don't have the knowledge of HD and disabilities and what needs to be done for a child. And they apologized and said, we didn't know that was something we had to do. But it's been great. She has a great relationship with all of her teachers, and she's been doing well there. The one thing about Olivia is that after seeing some of the other kids that I've met in person and seeing them online, Olivia has cervical dystonia. So I know dystonia is something that JHD kids get, but with her, hers affected the left side of her. So her head immediately is now to the left, so her body is always sideways. Her head tilts down. She's lost a lot of use of her hands for certain things, definitely the left side. So that has been a struggle. I'm sole caregiver for her. We do have a nurse who comes in during the school week I get 26 hours, and then I have respite hours, so we can use more of those. And she's here more during the summer. So this way I can continue to work full-time job during the school year. And she also struggles really with her talking. Her speech has become really bad, and it's getting a little bit worse where I've had to ask her to repeat herself more and more for myself to understand her. Sometimes she'll text me on her phone if it's something that I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out I've heard that there might be some apps on an iPad or whatever that would be more beneficial. So I'm looking into those. And the one thing about Olivia is that she's definitely a happy child, always ready to go and do something. We've been on so many different trips. Sometimes she'll nap during wherever we're going, but she's always up for the adventure to do things. So some of the things that we do for her is that she is in physical therapy. And the physical therapy that she's in is called hippotherapy, which is physical therapy on a horse. So they do some separate physical therapy, and then she gets to ride a horse every week. And she absolutely loves that. It's her favorite thing in the world to do. She just adores going over there, riding. And it has helped a lot. She can mount a horse, dismount a horse. She can walk the horse to the barn, and she feeds them. And so she does a lot of different things with that. We're not in any speech therapy right now. We're waiting for an OT evaluation for the house because it was just getting too hard to be able to go and do it with work schedule. And with the dystonia too, so I've talked on the support group, Olivia has pain with her dystonia. For a while there was a lot of neck pain and the left hand pain. We started going to the HD Center of Excellence in Duke, which is like a 2.5 hour drive from us. And he started administering Botox for her when she was at the age of 14 in her neck. And then he retired, and our neurologist here went into training to make sure she could give the Botox for Olivia. And while she was doing the training, she referred us to a physiatrist. And the physiatrist wouldn't do it in her neck, but he does it in a part in her shoulder, and he does it in her arm, so it helps with her hand. And so the most recent obstacle that I have come across with that is that my insurance, so I have primary insurance for her, and then she's also on Medicaid. They said that they were not supposed to cover that until she was the age of 16 and after she's tried a couple other different kinds. But for some reason, I don't know how we got around it for so long as we did, but it finally caught up to us this last time. So when we went in June, she actually had to try a brand called Dysport. And it was administered to her, and she's had a little bit more of pain still in her hand, where the Botox definitely eased all the pain for the full 3 months. So the Dysport has not worked as well as the Botox. So that's something that we'll talk about, because they have to at least note it before insurance will finally decide if they'll honor the Botox again. I do give her CBD oil because she does have a G tube. She lost a lot of weight. So she has a G tube for her main food. She's also on DuoCal for a calorie booster. She has gained over 20 pounds since she had the G tube put in 2.5 years ago. So she's at a healthy weight, looks healthier now because of that. She pleasure eats. This child loves her dessert. So anything that is soft dessert, ice cream, cheesecake, cannolis, you name it, cookies, she's eating that. She definitely pleasure eats for that. The CBD oil, I noticed, definitely helps her to be able to still move her mouth more, to be able to eat those things and to be able to still drink water. So she can't suck from a straw anymore. So I have to either dip the straw in and put it into her mouth, or I use something called a Toothet, where it's got like the pink sponge on it, and I'll dip that in water and then dab it into her mouth. But she gets her liquids through her G tube mostly. And I also use CBD cream on her hand. So it's all made by Charlotte's Web, which was made for that little girl who had the seizures. So I use Charlotte's Web, and that helps a lot with the pain. She has a wrist splint that she can get every 3 months, 6 months, I think it is, for when she outgrows them, and that helps. So we put that on, and the CBD cream, and I rub it. She also goes regularly for massage therapy. I'm very fortunate that my neighbor and a good friend of ours is a massage therapist. She takes Olivia all the time and gives her a full hour massage free of charge for me. So very lucky in that. And then she's on her certain medicines. So she gets like trihexyphenidyl to help with the dystonia. She's on baclofen. And then she's also on the tetrabenazine. So they tried the tetrabenazine on her to help with any of the facial chorea movements. I've noticed that I think that is making her really sleepy. So I'm not sure if that, since I know we've talked about it in JHD a lot, if it's common for the sleepiness or if it's a side effect also of the tetrabenazine. So we go back and see our neurologist next week. But it's definitely hard being a single parent, doing this all on your own, trying to work a full-time job to be able to keep your house and the things that you need to have going. I'm very blessed and lucky for my mom is here. My niece moved in with me, and I have a really great support of friends that are always around to help with whatever. And I rely so much on our support group. All those moms there have so many great ideas and tips and tricks, and just listening to them, it's just it makes you feel so good that you're not alone. But I try to do whatever I can with her to make her happy. We live for today, which was not my motto when the kids were little. It was work and save money for retirement, and I take a one vacation. And now I live as if I'm the one who's not going to be around tomorrow, for just in case, because you just never know. And so now I feel that, and any opportunity we have to go somewhere, do something, we're all on it, and we're doing it. And it makes her happy. And she's loved going to the different trips and meeting all the girls. And it's really nice. It's really nice. So we definitely appreciate you two so much, more than you guys know.
Thank you. First of all,
Hi.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi, sweetheart.
She
How
was
are you?
napping. Of course, she couldn't last 10 more minutes.
We're glad.
Yeah. How are you, beautiful?
Hi.
Hi. So we just have 2 questions for you.
What advice would you give someone who is going through testing and awaiting the results with their child?
That was really hard. It was nerve-wracking because I knew deep down inside that's what it was, but I was in denial. that it possibly couldn't be. Oh, it's so rare. So how could it possibly happen to me? But it did. I would definitely find a therapist, somebody you trust, somebody you know that you can talk to, let it all out. Because I mean, there's times that my friends say that I'm so strong and they don't know how you do it and all that, but I see all of our other mothers and you have no choice but to be strong. You can't just shut down. So find somebody who you rely on to talk to and talk to those people and get it out with them. This way you're not taking it out on your family. Because sometimes it gets really hard. It gets frustrating. Like, why can't you, sometimes you think, why can't you do something or do this or those little things, but you got to realize that they just can't. And it's my job as her mom to be there for her and do everything I can for her.
Yeah. Before I ask you have a question online, just real quick.
Okay.
Are Charlotte's Web's products online, and does it help with neuropathy associated with JHD?
I think they are online. I remember sending the link to Natalie. I buy them at my local vape store, CBD store, where they have all those other products. I went in there and they actually sold the Charlotte's Web brand. That I tried something else before I started doing my research a little bit more. And I realized that Charlotte's Web was the one that was made for a child. So I definitely trust that a little bit more than something that I'm not sure what dosage I'm giving her. I'm not so sure if it helps so much with, what was it, the neuropathy?
Yeah, neuropathy.
I'm not exactly sure what the whole neuropathy is, just more the mental state. Would that be more of a mental state?
Like a neuropathy pain,
Yeah.
like any of the pain, neuro pain in her. Do you see that the CBD helps with that?
I do. I think it does. Either that or my kid just has a really high tolerance for pain, which I think she does. She's such a trooper to get those shots in her neck, her back, her arms, everywhere. But I believe it does. That definitely the CBD cream that's made by Charlotte's Web, it's a balm and it's like in a tube. And I think that really does. She'll ask for that definitely at night or when her hand hurts. And I've used it a couple of times when my hand wasn't feeling the greatest, and it has like a nice feeling to it and it does feel much better. So I think it does. And I did take her off the CBD oil for a while, and I noticed she was having more trouble definitely swallowing, and when she would have ice cream and things like that. So I definitely went back to it.
Okay, one more question. I know we're running over time, but this is important. Is it frustrating that there isn't clinical trials for children? And if there
Yes.
were, do you think that you would participate?
Absolutely, it is frustrating, and I would definitely participate. For people to say that you have to be an adult to be able to participate, I understand certain parts, but at this point, where we are in life, what else is there? And with the children, I feel like that they can learn a lot from the different children because they also progress faster. And it'd be wonderful to be able to give our children a chance of getting to that point. And what other damage could we do at this point? How much more damage can we do? That's my philosophy. So if it's not going to help my child, because it might be too late at this point, if it can help another child, I'm all for it. Whatever it can do to help the future, if it's not going to help ours, then it should be allowed. Definitely should be allowed. And we're their parent. We should have that right in that say in having them participate in those.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erika.